Hi everybody and welcome to the Wednesday Night Live for the Change Journey. I'm using a new technology tonight, so I am actually streaming both into the Facebook page and also the Facebook group. So we talked about the Facebook group last week and the week before around having a safe space that if you wanted to ask questions and connect with other people or be accountable for your journey, that you could do it in there. And that's why I'm going to stream into the group now every Wednesday night as well, so that you can comment under that video. And also just is a nice way for you to watch the videos and have them all in a space where you can access them. So if you're not part of the group and you would like to join, please just go to the Change Journey community and ask to be added, and I will put you in there. So today we are moving into the self-confidence realm, which is stage 2 of the self-awareness through the book, and it's self-confidence, which I think I just said. And we're going to start with Brave Bridget. So the self-confidence stage is all about stepping out of your comfort zone. Now that you've got your plan, you know what to do, you've got your goals, it's about, well, actually, if I'm going to action this, it gets a bit scary, and all change is scary. So we bring in Brave Bridget to help with that. So Brave Bridget is all about courage and being brave and helping you to step out of your comfort zones. And her flower, which is the waratah, means courage. So that's a really nice symbol. So when we're talking about stepping out of our comfort zone, one of the things that kicks in the most is fear. And I want to talk about fear tonight, and then how you can bring Brave Bridget in to help you with your fears. But first of all, I just want to clarify that we're not talking about life-threatening real fears. So if somebody pulled a knife on you, or your car was hijacked or something like that, that is a real fear where your adrenaline would kick in. And yes, you would bring in your Brave Bridget, but the adrenaline takes over and that kind of becomes Brave Bridget for you. So we're not talking about that fear. We're talking about some other types of fear. And the other types of fear come in 3 areas. One is your conscious fears, one is your what if fears, and the third one is your subconscious fears. So your conscious fears are the ones you already know about. They might be your fears of heights, or it might be a fear of needles or something like that, a fear of rickety bridges, which is one of my fears. And you know those fears, and you know what scares you, and you know how that makes you feel in your life. So you choose to live your life around those fears. You avoid them if you can, and then if you have to face them at some point, you will bring in your Brave Bridget and go through with something. So let's say you would take needles as an example. You would avoid needles at all costs. And then when you had to go and have a blood test or something like that, you would go, okay, well, today's the day. You bring in your Brave Bridget, you pull your big girl pants on, and you go and get your needle done. And afterwards you go, yep, I didn't really enjoy that, and I'll try and avoid it now for another 6 months or 12 months or whatever it is. And then, you know, that's kind of a conscious fear. When I'm talking about rickety bridges, we went bushwalking when we were in Thredbo, and we got to a swinging suspension bridge, and I chose not to walk over it. I could have brought in my Brave Bridget, but to be honest with you, I didn't feel the need. I didn't have to prove it to myself. I don't like them. I didn't need to be a hero that day, and I didn't have to face it. So I just watched my husband go back and forth over it, and I sat on the river underneath and had a lovely time enjoying myself and not having to face my fears. So it's not always about having to face your fears. It's about having the choice. And I think that's the thing that I'm going to keep coming back to all the time, is that's the power of your self-awareness, is if you have that fear, you can choose to face it or you can choose to not face it. So knowing that what your conscious fears are is really important. Then we have our what if fears. And so this is coming when we are stepping out of our comfort zones. So when we're going to step out of our comfort zone, we're going into a bit of an unknown. So our comfort zone is our really nice, comfy place where we know what to expect. We know how we feel. We know the reactions we're going to have. We know what the people around us are going to say and do and behave. And so it's really easy. But if we're going to do something different, we're going to step out of that comfort zone. So it becomes a little bit scary. And then the fears that creep up are all the what if fears. What if this doesn't work out? What if XYZ happens? What if I can't afford it? What if? So these are all also very real fears, but it's I'm just classing them as what if fears for the moment as a type. And then the third type is your subconscious fears. So these are the ones that you actually don't really know you have. And they can be anything from a fear of success or a fear of failure. It could be a fear of money. It could be a fear of being rich, all those kinds of things. And they sound a little bit bizarre, and you would think, well, why would you fear success? But sometimes people relate success to standing out and being famous. And then you have the tall poppy syndrome, where in Australia people cut you down and disrespect you, I guess, because you're famous or whatever. So sometimes we have a belief or a subconscious belief that if I'm successful, people are going to cut me down, or people aren't going to like me, or I don't want to be successful because I might be famous and I don't want to have the media following me all the time. All these things turn into a subconscious fear. So they're really harder to spot. But I'm just going to talk about them in a minute again. So what we want to do with our brave Bridget is, in all those instances, is bring her in and get her to help us through that situation. So I already explained before with our conscious ones, she just comes in, we summons her, we do what it is that we need to do, whether it's walk over a bridge, get a needle, get in an elevator with a glass side or something like that if we're scared of heights. And we grin and bear it and we get through it and we come out the other side. So they're pretty easy. The what if ones is about bringing your awareness to them. So if you're about to step out of your comfort zone into something new, then it's about bringing in brave Bridget to ask yourself, what are all my what if fears? So this happened to us recently, where we had an opportunity that we might have sold our house. And we were a little unsure about whether we wanted to sell our house. It was really exciting. There was big money at stake, where we were gobsmacked at how much we could get. And we decided, I spent a whole weekend in turmoil, thinking about all the what ifs. Well, what if we sold our house? Where would we go? What would we do? Where would we live? What about the dog? Would we rent? Would we buy? Where would we live? There were so many unknowns and so many what ifs. And then it was, but if we stay, what if? What happens if we stay? Do we miss out? So, just like any real estate market, you're trying to maximize the gain, and the real estate market has taken a massive leap at the moment. And the unknown is it going to keep going? Are you going to miss out on money? All those kinds of things. So what I did was I wrote down all my what ifs, and I really just sat with them and sat with what felt the best for me. And I did my head heart exercise that we talk about later in the book. And then I brought in my brave Bridget to make the decision, which we decided to stay. So for lots and lots of reasons that it doesn't matter though, but I'm just trying to use that as an example of what if. If I use the example of leaving my marriage, the comfort zone for me was staying in my marriage. So I knew what every day looked like. I knew what to expect from my husband. I knew how he would react to situations. I knew how I would feel. And even though it wasn't great, it was something that I knew. So it was my comfort zone. For me to step out of that energy and step into the unknown was a massive deal and a massive what if. What if I can't do it? What if I have no friends? What if I have no money? What if I can't find somewhere to live? So that's when you need to bring in your brave Bridget again and then go, well, how can I use her to move through those what ifs? And is it big enough for me to want to take that leap out of my comfort zone? And that's what change is. So change in any area of your life, and it doesn't have to be these big changes that I'm talking about, like leaving your marriage or buying a house. If you just want to change the way you speak about yourself or to yourself, then that's a whole new comfort zone for you, that you're going to have to leave your old comfort zone of talking nastily to yourself to step into your new comfort zone of speaking nicely to yourself. And it's going to take a lot of bravery to make that step. If you wanted to get fitter, it takes a lot of bravery for you to say, actually, you know what, I'm going to commit to this and I'm going to start eating healthier food and I'm going to start exercising. These are all the areas where you can bring brave Bridget in to step out of your comfort zone. Then we're talking about the subconscious ones, which are the hidden ones. So the best way to find these is when you're moving forward on your change journey and you become stuck in something. So if we take the analogy of fear of success. So let's say that you're striving to be a successful entrepreneur in some kind of business, and things are happening and you take 2 steps forward, but you take 1 step back. Or you get a really, I can just use the examples of my old business. So all these doors would open, I'd get really excited, I'd move forward a couple of steps, and then that door would shut in my face. Every single time I had an opportunity, it shut in my face. Mine wasn't a fear of success, but it could be the same analogy, that if you then start to look at what is stopping me and what is keeping me stuck and what are the feelings that I have around this, then you'll start to see some of your subconscious fears. Now, this is when your journaling comes into play a lot, because you want to be free-flowing journaling, like I talk about in the book, to really get to the root of your subconscious fears. Because if you consciously won't know what they are. So it's about journaling. So in that instance, I would say to the journal at the top of the page, why are all these doors closing to me? And then I'd just start writing, and I'd start writing what I feel. I get really angry and and why is this happening to me? And then I'd get another answer. And then why is this happening to me? I get another answer. But why? Like, what is it doing? And all these stuff. So you start to just keep asking questions and then saying what comes into, writing down what comes into your head. That's how you find what your subconscious beliefs are. If that becomes too hard, you can always use a practitioner. And there are many healing modalities that look into subconscious. Theta healing, which I did. There's hypnotherapy. There's RTT, which is rapid transformation therapy, and there's kinesiology. And there is also Pillar. So all those things are available to you through the resources area of the website. So if you have purchased the book and you are looking for help, you can go into the assets area of the website, and there are a heap of resources of people that can help you, and they can all dig and help you find subconscious beliefs. So when you're feeling stuck, if something's really not moving, it's really good to try and look at what is that subconscious fear that's holding me stuck, so I can try and clear it and move forward. So they're your 3 levels of fear, and they're the different ways that you would bring brave Bridget in to help you through those scenarios. Like I said at the beginning, it's all about having awareness. So even with your conscious fears, what you want to do is start to write them down, because you might find that the big 3 or the big 5, but when you start to write them all down, you might come up with some other ones where you'll be like, oh, actually, I did know I had that, but I'd kind of forgotten, or something like that. So bringing your awareness to all those fears is really important. When you get stuck, bringing your awareness to your subconscious, and when you're trying to move out of your comfort zone, bringing your awareness to all your what-if fears is really important. So they are when you know what it is, then you have some tools to deal with it. The other thing is when you're in your comfort zone all the time, something nice to do is to just mix it up a little bit. So if you have routines, and let's say you drive to work every day and you go the same route, you order the same coffee, you get to work, obviously you sit at the same desk, you talk to the same people, then you drive the same way home, you shop at the same supermarket, all those things, they're all routines, but they're all keeping you in your comfort zone. So your body is really used to staying in your comfort zone. So one of the ways that we can increase our bravery and our courage is to step out of our comfort zones in really simple, safe things like that. So mix up your routine. And it could be driving a different way to work, or it could be having a coffee from somewhere different, or it could be shopping at a different supermarket or a different store, or it could be trying a different product or something like that. These are all really safe ideas that you can use to go, actually, I can step out of my comfort zone. I can step out of my routine and what I know, and do something a little bit different. Maybe it's, like I know people that don't go to the movies on their own because they fear that. Try and go to the movies on your own if that's something that you really don't like. I went and had a beer at a pub once when I was traveling, and I remember going to the function later that day or that night, and someone said, "Oh, did you go to the pub on your own?" I said, "Yeah." And they said, "Oh, I could never do that." And I said, "Oh, why not?" And she said, I just would never go to a pub and sit on my own and have a beer. I was like, "Oh, I do it all the time. If I'm traveling and I'm traveling on my own, I have no issues going to a pub on my own." So for her, just to step out of her comfort zone a little bit would be to go to the pub on her own and have a beer. So all these ways are really safe ways that you can start to step out of your comfort zone, start to bring in your brave Bridget in really little ways. And the other thing is, if there is something that one of your conscious fears, like let's say one of your conscious fears might be public speaking, and you need that to progress in your career or in your change journey or whatever it is that you want to achieve, then you can start doing it in little doses. So maybe you can start to talk up more in meetings at work, or maybe you can do some Facebook Lives. I was freaking out the first time I did a Facebook Live. I was really, really nervous and was terrible. And to be honest with you, after my coughing fit last week, I was nervous this week as well. I was like, "Please, voice, hold out on me so that I can just do this." And it's amazing how fear can step in and change things for you. So it's all about just really having that awareness of what is fearful for you, and then use little increments to try and step it up. So, for instance, my fear of lives has gone so much so that I was practicing this afternoon with this new software, and I just went live onto the page and nobody even saw it. But I didn't worry about that. Whereas in the past, I would have really freaked out about that. But it's taken little increments of doing Facebook Lives to get better and better and more confident. So if you have a fear that is part of your change journey and it is holding you back and you're aware of it, then you can use the little increments method to try and get better at it and conquer your fear. So that's really the essence of Brave Bridget. I hope you enjoyed that. If you have something that you would like to work on this week, I would love to hear about it, and just what little things that could you do this week to step out of your comfort zone and bring in a bit more bravery, or something that you might do to combat a fear this week. That would be great. And next week, we're going to talk about Truthful Tina, and she is the second character in the self-confidence group. So have a lovely week. I look forward to seeing you all next week, and talk soon. Bye.